Not a problem to solve, but souls to love and cherish. A handful of love for all the world to see. And may every child...
All through our relationship with this particular guy, he was very difficult with us. I would describe him as probably the most difficult customer that we've had for a long time.
My brother Nick. Nick came to faith probably 8 years ago, and as a classic car dealer, quickly embraced the whole principle of bringing his faith into his everyday business. He realised that you can talk to your customers about your faith, that many of them, often and the majority of them, have got issues going on in their life, are lonely, would like to talk, and has had an amazingly fruitful journey in explaining his faith in the context of a long working day selling motor cars.
Now, it's a convention in most businesses that if you buy a piece of capital goods, you'd put a deposit down, a financial deposit. And, you know, for businesses like mine, which are relatively small and we need the money, you would not normally give back a deposit if a customer cancels, particularly not if you feel you're being treated unjustly. Now, I have my eldest son in the business, and we had a situation last year which serves as an example of this. A man was really treating us unjustly. He'd bought 2 cars. We'd spent an enormous amount of time preparing the cars for this one car in particular for this guy, and he'd put down £1,000 deposit. Our costs were partly to do with preparing the car, but partly to do with taking the deposit because it was on a credit card. So when the day before delivery of the second car came, in fact, he'd already cancelled one, but when it came to delivery of this second car, I said to my son, my sense about this is this deal won't go through. And he was horrified, threw up his arms in horror. And I said, no, James, my sense about this is that there's a story here that you and I don't understand, and I would rather you just defer to me and let me deal with this one, because I don't think it's going to go ahead. Sure enough, the guy cancelled. My son was furious. You're not going to give him any money back, are you, Dad? I said, well, I'm going to bring that before the Lord. I may do, but just leave it to me.
A man or a woman that's been used to doing business a certain way and perhaps has been highly profitable and has built a lifestyle around it, an image, a way of being, might be very fretful about changing at all, changing to the extent of bringing God now into my business. Whoa, this could threaten my very existence. Part of the mind shift here is that we tend to live on memory. Well, this worked in the past, this is the way I do it, this is where I need to keep on doing it. Faith is probably the opposite of memory. Do I have the faith to believe that the God of the universe, who loves me intensely, who loves what I'm doing, who wants to encourage me, if he's brought in as part of what I'm doing, and his righteousness given to me, and me attempting to be righteous, will that shake a few things? For sure.
Anyway, the guy came back. He was quite content to give us 250 of the £1,000 deposit back because of the work that we'd done. And I said, well, I'll discuss that, but I need you to come to the office. He came to the office and I sat down with him, and I said, right, I'm going to keep £50 of your 1,000, which represents the amount I've had to pay in commission for taking your credit card. The other £950 I'm giving you back. I mean, the guy was horrified. He said, what for? You make me feel bad. I've already offered you 250. I said, because there's a whole other thing going on here that at the moment I don't really understand, but I don't feel right about taking your money when I've not delivered any goods and services. And this is the point where I feel the Lord was really speaking to me and something was coming out of me, which at that stage I couldn't have known. And I said to him, look, you're a very sad man. You've been one of our most difficult customers, but I believe there's a whole story behind this that is the reason for your behaviour. His eyes filled with tears. And he said, I don't want to do this. I don't want to go there. I said, it's okay. Just let it out. He said, 7 years ago, my wife was killed in a hit-and-run accident with a truck driver. a negligent truck driver. My business collapsed in the process because the police bungled the investigation. I didn't get the money that I would have had in compensation, so I had financial ruin. And later I found another lady as a companion. I wanted to be my wife. And I lost the love of my 2 sons, who said they didn't want another mum. And every time I've bought a car since, I've been ripped off. And I said to him, well, I'm really sorry to hear all of that. That would explain a number of things to me. I said, but I want you to leave these premises with this. The next time you and your wife walk through that door, you're going to be as welcome here as the first time you came. This is just forgotten about as far as I'm concerned. It's all behind us. You come and you're welcome whenever you want. And I said, I'd like to give you this CD, which is a CD of teaching, which had some music and the gospel on it. Now, I met that man and his wife about 3 or 4 weeks later, just passing, and they waved and they stopped. And their response, it was all smiles. And the lady said to me, his wife said, have you got another one of those CDs? We got some friends and their marriage is in trouble, and we think it might do some good. That's what I'm thinking of when I think about countercurrent. If I hadn't stepped back, I would have done what every other person would have done. I'd have said, take the money, and there's a bitter man walking round.
The more that there's a brutal, gracious honesty, the more God can bring his blessings. And interestingly, from a scriptural point of view, it says the blessings of God bring joy and do not add sadness. So clearly there are some people that are being blessed out there that are not being blessed by God. And what is the nature of their life with their illicit, so to speak, gain? So I would much prefer to see people, as I'm sure they would, having a little with peace or a lot with peace in righteousness, and seeing God as part of the picture and the team, than to be always slightly looking over my shoulder. Does this fit together?